Hey everybody, welcome to CMPS 1023. I'm Ted Lane. I'll be your instructor for this term. Um, I'm actually doing two classes. But the schedule and everything's identical between the two classes. It's just different people on the other side of it, but it's all going to be me on the other end. So, um, brief background. I was military, Air Force, for the first part of my adult life. Uh, then, in the Air Force, I started off as an aircraft electronics technician, and then later on, I became a technical instructor, and I started doing that a long time ago. So I got my first experience that as a technical instructor in the Air Force. I used to teach about the systems on the aircraft we work. Plus, I taught things like solid state and integrated circuit devices, basic and advanced digital techniques, and things like that. So pretty solid on the background and experience in the technical training area. And I've always taught since. So I've got several decades of instructional experience behind at the collegiate level and in the professional level. So that's me. And so there's kind of two things I want you to understand out of all of that conversation. Number one is I take education very seriously. My background as an Air Force instructor was, part of my grade was how well my students did, and that didn't mean that I gave people, a free pass, a hall pass, so to speak, and they were required to do the work. But my job was to do everything I could to support them. I carry that into this job. And one of the things I absolutely want you guys to take away from is, if you've got an issue, if you don't understand something, you don't have a problem, this is difficult for me. I'm used to standing up in front of a class, and I've been doing stand-up instruction for decades, and I can look out on the class and I can see who isn't getting it. And I'll start asking questions and drawing it out of them and get to the point where not only do they understand better, but so does the rest of the class. Unfortunately, in this method of teaching, we don't have that opportunity. I can't see your faces. I don't know I don't know whether you're really getting it or not. And so I have to rely on you to tell me if you don't. Now, it would be an incredible waste of your time and your money if you went through this class and you had problems and you didn't take advantage of the resources that are available to you. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more. But I want to tell you that I really, really do want you guys to reach out to me. I'm not going to belittle you. I'm not going to, give you a hard time. I know that there were several people in the last class that I just could not convince that they needed to work with me a little bit and that they could get through it. And I wanted to see that change. So I've been working with the other instructors to update some of the stuff that we're doing in this class in that very same hope. The other part of it, though, is I still am going to hold you accountable. Okay, again, I'm a military guy. You have to do the work. I can't do it for you. I actually had a student in the last class that said, "Well, are you going to pass me or what?" And my response to her is very true, and I want you to get that as well. And the fact of the matter is I have nothing to do with whether you pass or fail. It's all on you. I'm here to assist you, and I'll do everything I possibly can to assist you. But if you don't own it, if you don't take control of this, there's really not much I can do. I can't make you ask questions. I can't make you learn. I can't make you study. I can't make you do anything. I know that. But I can be there to help you get through this. Now, I'm one resource, and we'll talk about the others when we get into the course documents here in a moment. But at one point, I was talking with Dr. Stringfellow about this challenge I had where people weren't coming to me when I knew they had problems, or by the time they got around to asking me, they were so deep in it there really wasn't much anyone could do. And I said, I don't get why they don't approach me. I offer over and over and over again. And, she said, well, maybe what you had to do is schedule mandatory meetings so they get to meet you and really spend some time talking to you and all that kind of thing so they feel more comfortable. Well, I thought about doing that, but again, right at present time, I have 39 students, and I don't see any way that I could do that. To get time with each of you, even 10 or 15 minutes, within the course of this class. So I'm going to continue to think on that, and if I don't see people coming up to me, maybe we do that. Maybe I just start scheduling stuff with you guys, and we start getting there. But at the end of the day, know that I'm here. It's really important to me that you do well, and I'll do what I can to help you. But at the end of the day, it's your work, it's your effort, it's your responsibility to do the best you can do. All I can do is help. So, with all of that, let's get to the documents here that I really have to show you. So, so you'll notice this is D2L. You should be able to see this by the time by the time you're watching this, you should be in D2L. Anyway, we'll start with the syllabus real quick. I'm not going to spend any time on this, to tell you the truth. This just kind of gives you the overall of kind of what the class is all about. There are no textbooks or materials. It's all coming off the internet, or we're providing it, or the instructors have developed it, or whatever. Here's the basic breakdown of how you're going to get your grade. 20 of it's going to be assignments, which are quizzes, homeworks, and discussions. And then there are 3 programs, and both of those count for 20 points. And then you have 3 exams of 15 points each, and then your final project, which is 15 points. So there's not many things here, and so you need to hit the mark on all of them. And my perspective is none of this is particularly hard. Of course, my perspective is somewhat circumspect in the fact that I've got decades of experience of doing this stuff. So, but I try to keep that in mind, and I look at it and I go, okay, what we're covering in here is not that hard. If you put the work in, you're not going to have any challenges whatsoever. And I'm going to continually try to get you beyond. There's a lot of people that get into this, and they get into the deer in the headlights look. And so part of what I put in here is part of what the changes that we've made here are to kind of fill in some things or give you some additional tools to make it easier. Here's how the grade scale breakdown is, and all I can say is I don't deviate from this. So, if you get an 89.49, you're going to get a B. That's all there is to it. I don't round up. You got to get an 89.5 or better to get an A. That's all there is to it. Attendance, well, of course, we don't have regular classes. So, but one thing I'll point out is this is an online class, but it is not a self-paced class. When I was doing my undergrad work, I had a couple classes that were self-paced, and I did what everybody seems to do in those circumstances. Out of the 4 months, I would spend 3 of it kind of not really doing much of anything, and then the last month scrambling and cramming to get it all done. That's not a really effective way to learn. And this class is not set up that way. It's set up by weeks. There are certain things you need to do every week. Most of the time, if you don't get it done on time, you don't get anything. You don't get any points for it, and that's going to be a problem. However, there are a few things where, okay, if you don't make it on time, we'll accept it late up to 1 week. But you can be guaranteed a 1 letter grade deduction. So if you did do it perfect and you got an A, you're going to get a B because you didn't do it on time. So, and notice this in here is technical difficulties not a valid reason for an extension. There's way too many resources available to you to either help you with your particular problem or to provide additional resources you can use temporarily to get your work done. There are tutors. So this is the other resource I'm talking about. If you really can't stand talking to me, then you can always, there's the TASP program that will assist you with that. So maybe, young people like yourselves, maybe, juniors and seniors out there that have been through this can help you through it. It's not going to break my heart if you decide to go to someone else to help them. I'm not going to get help. I'm not going to be upset about that at all. What I will be upset about is if you're in trouble and you don't get help. Because again, tremendous waste of your time and your money. So anyway, academic misconduct. Now, I kind of flew through this last time, and I got to tell you, I was disappointed. There was some cheating in there. Now, number one of the things you guys need to know is I spent the last 25 years of my career in information security. I have a mentality that automatically picks up on when things aren't going right. It's not automatic. It's just decades of experience in dealing with stuff that isn't on the up and up. I defend companies and people from criminals, and so I'm exposed to that all the time. And so I several people, unfortunately, got into some trouble. And so let me be very clear about this. First of all, what constitutes cheating? And that the university takes a very hard view of that. If it's your work, it's your work. Now, personally, I don't have any problems with people studying together. That's fine. And, but homework and quizzes and projects, those are to be done on your own. I had a case where a couple people were roommates, and so they did a project together, and then they each turned in the project, and it wasn't hard for me to figure out what was happening there, even though I didn't know they were roommates. Well, what I could see was the same errors were happening. And I saw that in some other areas on programs and stuff like that. So again, if you're having trouble with a program, go to a tutor. That's fine. Go to me. That's fine too. Either one of those are good, but don't start working with your fellow students too closely on things that are going to be turned in, because that can turn into cheating. And to tell you, the consequences are listed here. And this is exactly what happened to these individuals, is they were given a non-replaceable grade of 0 for the assignment. And they got a 1-letter reduction in the course. So, and unfortunately for the two people that were roommates, they were both A students. They didn't get an A, they got a B. And of course, if you can't learn after the first time, then it's going to be bad for you. You're going to get an F and you're going to be thrown out. And if you ever do it again, you're just gone, and that's not the way you want to end a college career. So, and again, letting another student look at your work is collusion. So whether, you might have done the work on your own, but letting someone else look at what you've done, that isn't right either. So again, the safest thing for you guys to do is if you're having trouble, if you're struggling with this, use the tutor facilities that are provided by the university, or get a hold of me. I'm okay with that, and I'll do what I can to help you through it. So, handbook has more information. Anyone with disabilities, if you think it's going to be impactful, make sure you get a hold of the Disability Support Office. Let me know too. We'll do whatever we can to accommodate you in there as well. So the materials that you're seeing are actually, oftentimes it's original material that's written by the instructors and myself. It is, our intellectual property or the university's intellectual property. You can't use it without written permission. And again, this is another one where you could get booted. So that's it. All right, I'm not going to spend any more time on that. Enough gloom and doom on that. Let's see why there's the stuff I have to talk about. The truth of the matter is, I don't like to talk about it, but I wish I'd spent a little bit more time on it last time. Some of those folks might not have been in the trouble that they got into later on. Because I felt like, to some respects, it was probably more a, kind of a lack of understanding than anything else. But unfortunately, the rules are clear, and it wouldn't have been fair to anyone else to just let them go by. So anyway, other documents in here. Here's our calendar. Here's what we're going to be doing. There's a lot of stuff, needless to say, because we're going to go in a lot of different directions. First of all, we're going to kind of ease you into it. We're going to talk a little about conversions between numbering systems. And this is not a math class. We're not going to spend a ton of time on math. But, at the end of the day, certainly everybody has heard somewhere along the line, computers are all ones and zeros. Yes, that's true. And that's what we call binary. And it's important to be able to understand how to go back and forth between binary and decimal. And we're going to introduce something else called hexadecimal in there as well. And, those are all very useful and important in our work. So we're going to talk about what they mean and how you convert from one to the other, and, a little bit about why they're important. And this is an area where people struggle. And when I talk to the other instructors, they say, yeah, people always struggle over this. And so what we've introduced this time is some homework. And I'm doing that not because not because I'm trying to punish anybody, but because I think, it's a question of practice. You do this thing enough, and when you go through the videos that I recorded on how to do it, which is something else new that we did, before we just had written instructions. Now I have a video out there that I'll walk through a couple examples, and you'll get to see all of the dirty little bits go into making that conversion between one numbering system and others. And what I'm going to say a dozen times is it's not that hard. Really, it isn't. And once you see me do a few, you'll realize it isn't that hard. And then because the video is there, when you get around to doing your homework practice, if you get stuck on something, you'll look at the video again and see how I did it. And that'll help you get through it. So if you do some practice when it comes up to, if it'll appear in both quizzes and in the exams, you're going to be in good shape. So we upgraded the videos on the history, which is the second week. We originally had some videos literally from the 1970s that were an hour long at terrible resolution and everything else. The important stuff that was in there was in there. It wasn't that it didn't cover the material, but it was kind of hard to consume. So we upgraded those, and you'll get that opportunity. And then there's going to be a video in there about algorithms as well. And you'll have some homework on algorithms. And you may not know what algorithms are, and I'm not going to get into that in this class or in this video. But you know, there were a number of people when we got into programming that just they were the deer in the headlight. They just struggled. They struggled from day one, and you know, by the time we got through it all, they had done quite poorly at the end because they just couldn't see how to get started. And so algorithms, and what we're going to be doing in algorithms, and that methodology that we're going to use to develop algorithms will give you the tools to give you a place to get started. And then you'll be able to, because the actual number of things we cover in the programming class are actually pretty few, not that many. And so it's just really kind of getting your mind, training your brain to think about things in a particular way. And once you get your brain trained that way and you've got that little algorithm sitting there, it's just a question of putting the right codes down to do that thing. And it's really not hard. It isn't at all. Well, you know, heck, I could do it. I've been doing it for a long time. And, you know, but in the beginning, it wasn't obvious for me either. So anyway, we can see our assignments. Then by the third week, we're going to start our programming language. We're going to use one programming language called Python, and it's got a reputation for probably being the easiest thing out there. It probably is. It's hard for me to judge at this point because I've used so many different programming languages over the last several decades that none of them are particularly harder than another as far as I'm concerned. But you know, at the end of the day, people seem to think Python's easy. Okay, so we'll ease you into it with something easy. We're going to break it out into several different pieces. We're getting into the basics in week 3. Week 4, we're going to start talking about conditionals, which is how you make decisions. And then we hit week 5, your first examination. So it'll be over binary numbers and the conversions and Python basics and conditionals. And coming out of there, week 6, we're going to start talking about ranging and looping. And this is how this is an awful lot of the power of computers. It's doing the same. It's running through the same piece of code over and over and over again to do it very, very fast. So as an example, and you'll see this in another video, so I'm going to repeat myself ahead of myself, but you know, a computer does not do multiplication like you and I do. You know, how do we do multiplication? Well, we learn the multiplications tables at least up through 9, right? And we've got those all memorized. So see 4 times 5, you know that's 20. See, you know, 7 times, you know, sometimes 8 is 56. Okay, you know, this is just stuff we memorized. We don't really have to compute. We don't have to really do anything to get there. We know it. But a computer doesn't have that kind of memory. It doesn't carry experiences throughout its entire lifetime. A computer carries the experience of the moment, what it knows from the time the program starts to the time it stops. That's all it knows. That's the only memory it has. It doesn't have memory that lasts forever and ever and ever. So anyway, so you know, we do multiplication by memory, and then you know, kind of break up the numbers, and then do each of those multiplications in there by memory. Okay. But in the end, let's take the example 4 times 5. What does that really mean? It means you take 4 and you add 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. That's what 4 times 5 means. Okay, and that's exactly what a computer does. Now you're not going to have to write the code to say, okay, 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. You're going to use an operator, a multiplication operator that looks just like the operator you use all along, right? it just like you would use on your computer, on your own computer. It's that asterisk thing there, right? The star, sometimes it's called. That's the operator you're going to use. But behind the scenes, that's going to break down to where the computer's going to do that 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 thing. It's going to do over and over and over again. So who's smarter, the human or the computer? Well, the human. But the computer's much faster than we are. So even though it's going to go through a lot more steps to get the same answer, it's going to do it a lot faster. So it's going to, even doing all those steps, it's still going to do it a lot faster than you are. So anyway, those are the things that you need. And that happens in these things we call range statements and loops. And it's loops that allow us to go through and do something fairly simple very, very fast so that we can actually get a complex result. And let's see. So loops and then functions. I'm not even going to get into that right now. We'll got it. And then that's it. By week 8, we're going to be largely done with actual programming. Don't discount it. It's a significant part of your grade. You want to do well there, and you can do well. And this is the kind of thing that I can tell you that just about anyone can do it if they apply themselves. We're going to talk about social media cultures and technology. I'll probably end up learning more from you than the other way around. Being of my age, I'm not a big huge fan of most social media, but we do need to talk about how it impacts cultures and technologies and stuff like that. You'll get an introduction into a real honest to goodness academic paper on the subject. And we'll kind of based on what that author has written, we're going to talk about what that impact is, what the impact of social media is on cultures and technology. And then we're going to go into big data. We're not going to go deep in that. You're not going to really do anything on that. You're going to learn a little bit about big data. And then we're going to talk about Excel, which is a very common program that is used in the business world by a lot of people that are not programmers. It just makes it easy to do a lot of calculations all at once. And where that really comes into play is think about a budget. Okay, you've got these categories of these expenses, and there's some of this, and then the sum of all of the expenses in a particular category, and then you add that to all the other things, you take it away from your income, and you figure out whether you're going broke or whether you're actually making money. Okay, that's what spreadsheets do, and they do it very, very well. And Excel is the top of the heap as far as that's concerned. It's won the battle. It's the big kahuna in the spreadsheet world. And we'll spend a little bit of time going through that, and you'll have a project to do on Excel. And then we're going to start doing the big thing. Your really big thing is the presentation. Each of you are going to research and prepare a presentation using PowerPoint, and you're going to record a video, just like I'm doing. You're going to record a video of doing that presentation. Everybody will do that. So if you don't like public speaking, get over it. You're going to end up doing it, but this is really pretty low weight. You're not actually going to be doing public speaking. You're going to be talking to a camera like I am right now. So, it's pretty easy introduction into public speaking, but you're going to be doing that. You're going to do a presentation. I'll give you a lot of hints on the right ways to do good presentations and the like. One thing though is that when you think of a topic, one of the things that I'm going to absolutely insist on is the whole idea here is to talk about the impact of technology on cultures and societies. And if the topic you want to talk about doesn't get to that, if it doesn't really at any point in there talk about the impact of that technology on a culture, you're not going to do well. And so what I kind of insist is that you run the topics by me, and you know, and I'll tell you whether it's good or not, whether it's good to go. And it's actually not an option; it's a requirement. You have to send it to me first, and you have to get my approval before you move forward with it. So anyway, um, so the way that works is you're going to start doing, you're going to kind of work on your topic in week 12, and you're going to kind of come up with your rough draft of your PowerPoint, and you're going to send it to me, and I'll give you feedback on the PowerPoint. And then in week 13, you're going to start doing the videos in front of the camera. Now, this is the one place where you can actually work as a group. You can do up to 3 people, but there are some requirements. All of the people that are working together have to be in the presentation. They have to present at different points. And a few people did that last time around. They did a pretty good job with it. There's nothing wrong with that. This is one place where you're okay to work together. Anyway, you'll do those video uploads, and then the other requirement is that you are to, each of you are going to have to review at least 2 other students' presentations, and you need to give them meaningful feedback. And by meaningful feedback, I don't want you to, I don't want to see oh, way to go, dude, great job. That's no information. It's more along the lines of, hey, I liked what you said here. It made me think about this. What do you think about that? That kind of thing, that kind of interaction. So, what's weird is in the middle of all this, we got Thanksgiving in week 14. And literally when we come back, you're only going to have 1 week to do, because finals week, there is no final in this class. So, that is there we go. That's the calendar, and beyond that, nothing much else to tell you about. It's all in here. I reserve the right to change the material as we go along. Most of it you probably will never know. A lot of the material in here still has other instructors, and I'm going to try to redo it myself. And like I said, we've done some updates, and I think for the better. I definitely think that we did a lot better job on history of computing this time around. I'm very excited about the major video, the main video. So we used to have 2 1-hour-long videos from the 70s. We have 3 videos now. One of them's an hour long. It's extremely well presented, though, and fascinating stuff out there. I feel confident that most of you are going to really get something out of it and enjoy it. The other 2 are like real quick, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. But the upshot of it is, between all 3, it's still only an hour and a half. So I actually save you all some time, but I think we cover more material and we cover it better. So we're all really happy with kind of the choices of the videos there. So that's it. That's the class. Hopefully you've got a good, there's lots of stuff to do, and at present time it's 11:20. I think by the time I get everything packaged up and set up in the course for you to see this video, it'll be time for it'll be available for you. Most of you, I think, are probably smart and you're sleeping right now, and you'll get to see this tomorrow. But anyway, looking forward to having to working with you all, and we'll catch you in the next lesson. Bye.